Howdy and welcome to my channel. My name is Husto T, and today I want to talk about my Super Bowl prediction. Well, for the most part, it's not really a prediction. It's just me talking about the Super Bowl in general. As you can see, I'm an Eagles fan, avid Eagles fan, and I even got my Nick Foles jersey on from when he won Super Bowl MVP. So, you already know what my pick is going to be. But I just want to talk about the game and kind of talk about why I believe that it will be. To begin the video off, one, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes. He is a two-time MVP now. And although I could feel what I want to feel about the fact that if Jalen Hurts did not miss those two games, he could have been MVP. But at the same time, when you think about it, Patrick Mahomes was in a fight for that number one seed. Had that Bills and Bengals game not been delayed, it would have been even more of a fight. So he was going to be playing every single game regardless, meaning he would have had all those stats regardless, and I think regardless he also would have got the number one seed. So with that being said, it actually feels like Patrick Mahomes would have got this award regardless of what happened. If we look at Patrick Mahomes stats, my guy had 5,000, not my guy, but I really am a fan of Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is my guy. But Patrick Mahomes had 5,250 yards. He had 41 touchdowns with a 67.1 completion percentage, with also leading them to the first seed in the AFC. So he had a great year, and that's what we have to expect to see from him. He's also taken on, I think, 26 sacks on the year, which means that was the number one offensive line unit. They gave up the least amount of sacks. I'm not going to say the number one unit. I think that's the Eagles because we have good pass protection and good run protection, and we have the yards to back it up too. But they didn't allow Patrick Mahomes to get sacked a lot this year, and that's a lot due to the upgrades that they made last year after the Super Bowl that they lost to Tampa Bay. They had to revamp the offensive line to have Patrick Mahomes not running a lot. But although that they upgraded the offensive line, he still is able to be very mobile. He's able to escape pressure a lot, and that is why he has sacked the least. So that's why they're not the number one offensive line unit. I think the Eagles are. But with that being said, he's going against the number one passing defense. We only allow 179.8 yards per game. But we also have a challenge because we are going against the number one passing offense, obviously, who goes for 297.8 yards per game. As far as totals go, the Chiefs offense has 424.7 yards per game, leading the league. We have in our defense as 330.4 yards per game, which is fourth best in the league. So they're going to have to rely on, in my opinion, getting the ball off quickly because we also have a good pressure rate. We have a pressure rate of 33.4%, which leads the league, and then we also have an 11.1% sack rate because this is the defense that had 70 sacks on the year, which means we are getting to the quarterback and we're getting there often. We pressure often, and Patrick Mahomes, though, he's one of the best passers when it comes to passing out, like getting outside the pocket and passing. On top of being one of the best pocket passers, he is legit the best passer in the league, regardless of what metric you want to go for. So there's also that we have guys that can get to him. Our D line on the whole season, postseason and regular season, we have a D line of Hassan Reddick with 19.5 sacks. You got Josh Sweat with 12.5. You got Brandon Graham and Javon Hargrave who have 12, and Fletcher Cox has 8 sacks. That is our starting defensive line. Then on top of that, we have Jordan Davis who just doesn't allow rushing yards. Linval Joseph. We have Sue. We have Milton Williams. There's so many people that we have on this defensive line. We have a good rotation. Like Brandon Graham was coming off the bench. He still had 11 sacks on the regular season, 12. He added 1 in the postseason, I believe. So this is going to be a tough task for Patrick Mahomes because he doesn't have McCole Hardman, but it's not as if McCole Hardman was his best receiver this year. His best target this year, obviously, was Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is a maestro when it comes to his route running. So it depends on who we have on him. I think in a lot of packages we may have Reed Blankenship on him because Reed is a real aggressive tackler. He's a good tackler. And if we put CJ on him, I think CJ can do good things. But sometimes CJ, if you're looking at Christian McCaffrey run that got him a touchdown, the only touchdown that San Francisco got, by the way, you can see that CJ came, lowered the shoulder, but had he just tackled him, there's a chance that they wouldn't have scored a touchdown that whole game. That's only a chance, though. They still had Brock at that point, I believe. And if not, it doesn't even matter. I can't remember. That game was so one sided. And I don't know if y'all seen, but San Francisco has been salty. But like I said, we have the number one rushing defense. I mean, we have the number one pass defense. Unfortunately, we are tied for 16th in rushing defense, but that is better than where it was because I believe at one point we were like 22, then we were at 20. We started getting gashed a lot. Like we got dashed by Damian Pierce from the Texans. We was allowing Justin Jefferson. I mean, not Justin Jefferson. Oh my goodness, Justin Fields to get some yards on us, and that's when we finally got Linval Joseph and Sue. So we're going against a team that is pretty much one-sided. Their rushing offense is ranked 20th in the league, which isn't too bad, but they're still in the bottom half of the league. They have 115.9 rushing yards per game, but with Eric Bieniemy and with Andy Reid, they have the number one scoring offense with 29.2 points per game going against the number seven, tied for number seven scoring defense, which is 20.2 points per game. They also pick up third downs at an astounding rate, almost 50%. It's 48.7% of third downs that they pick up. And it may be because they're third and shorts. It doesn't really matter what the third downs are. They have a quarterback who can escape pressure. You got a tight end who just makes clutch plays after clutch plays. You got Isaiah Pacheco. I like him. He's a really aggressive runner, and I did not realize how fast he was. I don't know if you guys saw that clip from the Jacksonville game, but this man he is pretty goddamn fast. Like, I didn't expect that. And he wears number 10, which is ironic because that was Tyreek Hill. But them losing Tyreek Hill, they still made it to the Super Bowl. They still had Patrick Mahomes, who won MVP. He led the league in passing yards. He led the league in all-purpose yards. If I'm correct, he also had 4 touchdowns rushing. Like, whether that was just not QB sneaks, but, on the 1-yard line, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. You had a great all-around quarterback, but I feel like Philly has the best dual threat quarterback. He can make the throws that he can make, and he just does a lot. He can make the plays with his feet. You saw week 2 versus the Vikings. It's not like he had like gaudy rushing numbers, like 200 yards rushing, like a Justin Fields. I almost keep saying Justin Jefferson too much. Like a Justin Fields can give you. He gave like 170 yards, 150 yards on multiple occasions. He's not going to do that for you. He can make it 100 yards, but he's going to get these first downs because when it comes to our Eagles offense, we pick up a first down on third down percentages 45.9% of the time, pretty much 46%. And that is 4th in the league versus a defense that gives it up 38.3% of the time. We also have the third ranked scoring offense at 28.1. So he's only 1.1 points behind the Chiefs, but we're third in the league on that. We also have the 5th best rushing offense at 147.6. We have the 9th best passing offense with 241.5. And we have the 3rd best total offense in general with 404.3 yards per game. Whereas they give up 351 total yards per game, which is 17th in the league. They give up 220.9 against the pass, but that was the regular season when they were healthy. Now they have 2 rookies starting at cornerbacks. And Trent McDuffie is a dude that I wanted on the Eagles before we got James Bradbury. I didn't know what we were doing when we didn't draft a cornerback, and I was a little afraid. But then we got James Bradbury, and all he did was go out and become a second-team All-Pro. So, yet again, that's something that Patrick Mahomes does to look forward to, along with Darius Slay, who was a second-team All-Pro last year and could have been an All-Pro this year, but well, things happen. I think he was second this year in single coverage, whereas he was first last year in single coverage. So oftentimes we're not going to be double teaming, which helps us against Patrick Mahomes, who gets out of the pocket and can pick up key third downs and stuff. We have TJ Edwards guarding. We got Kaiser White. Kaiser White may actually be the guy who goes on Travis Kelce quite a bit. It may be TJ Edwards, but Kaiser White goes against Pacheco. But we will see. That's only when Pacheco is running. I mean, going to catch a pass. Goodness gracious. So yeah, like I said, I anticipate a lot of quick passes from the Chiefs offense. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they are the number one scoring offense, number one passing offense for a reason. They know how to get guys open. They know how to work against these defenses. They haven't seen anything new. Like they've been through it all. Andy Reid has 21 postseason wins, who is now second among all coaches, I think behind only Bill Belichick, of course. But that's for a reason. He's seen it all. He's an offensive guru. He's a quarterback guru. Like you see, he got the most out of Alex Smith, and he's getting the most out of Patrick Mahomes now. And Also, he used to just play. He used to coach the Eagles. So I would root for Andy Reid if we weren't in the Super Bowl. But sorry, Big Red, it's time for you to go down. We have Jalen Hurts, and I believe we're going to do well. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, he has 3,705 passing yards with 2 games missed. Don't forget about that. He also has 760 rushing yards. He had 22 passing touchdowns. I think I had mentioned Patrick Mahomes had 41. And he had 13 rushing touchdowns compared to the 4 rushing touchdowns that Patrick Mahomes had. That is why I said that he is the best dual threat quarterback in the league. With that being said, Jalen Hurts had his worst game of his career against the Giants in the 2021 season. He threw for 14 yards. I mean, not 14 yards, 14 completions for 31 yards with like 140 something yards or something like that. And he also threw 3 interceptions. Ever since that, he has only lost 1 regular season game, which was to Washington. They controlled controlled the time of possession a lot in that game. Even in the time of possession, like if you look at it, how much they scored compared to the time of possession, compared to how much we scored compared to time of possession. If we had the ball more, it was clear that we would win. But that is the way that you could break down the Eagles. You got to control the time of possession. And I think that the Chiefs can do something like that. But I think that our defense being rested, they looked great against San Francisco. They looked great against New York after being rested for 1 week. And I think we can do some great things. We're going to be well rested. I think we're going to be ready. Nick Sirianni has gotten his team built to win. But so what I was saying, Hurts is 19-2 since he lost to the Giants after throwing those 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. He had 77 rushing yards that game. He only lost 1 game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a wild card game, 31-15, and then we lost to the Washington, like I said before. So say that he's 19-2 since then, and that's just remarkable. That shows the hard work that he put into the season, and also it shows hard work and getting up to date with A.J. Brown. If I could read some stats for you for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, which I don't think won't be in single coverage this whole game. I think A.J. Brown gets doubled, but just to say it, A.J. Brown in single coverage has a 93.4 receiving grade. He also has 850 yards, and that's first in the league in single coverage. And he also has 8 touchdowns, which is also first for a receiver who is being single covered. That is crazy. He also has, for the whole year, a 118.8 passer rating when targeted, which is 4th in the league. And then Devontae Smith is 7th in the league with 114.3 passer rating when being targeted. And another thing that I actually noticed this year was the fact that a lot of people like to say that Jalen Hurts can't throw. He can't make all these throws. He just needed a receiver because in tight windows, A.J. Brown was 2nd in catches for 18 yards, 1st in yards with, I say 18 catches, I mean 2nd. 441 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had 215 yards over expected, and he also had 58 yards after the catch over expected, which is all 1st in the league, except for the catches being 2nd when being thrown to in tight windows. A.J. Brown has shown his worth this year. He is definitely worth the $100 million contract that we gave him. He was definitely worth getting traded from Tennessee, who didn't want to pay him like that or didn't respect him. Whatever the reason that they traded him was stupid, and it shows. In his first season, he showed that he is one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think, according to PFF, he's the 4th best rated wide receiver. I don't have that because I'm not paying for PFF. I'm not going to lie to you. But I think that I saw that somewhere. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you can't deny that A.J. Brown's worth to this team is immense. And having Devontae Smith, having Dallas Goedert, they rated him as the 2nd best tight end in the NFC, but that's only because he missed a lot of games this year. Not a lot, but he missed enough. And then they also have him rated behind Travis Kelce, but we all know that he is one of the best tight ends in this league. And along with having one of the best tight ends in the league, we have one of the best running backs in Miles Sanders. A lot of people would not agree with me on that, but Miles Sanders does his job. He may not have the receiving yards that all these other running backs have, because I seen that he was like, according to Maurice Jones-Drew, he was like the 10th rated running back, and everybody in front of him, you got like Aaron Jones, you got Dalvin Cook in them, and I personally don't think as a runner that they were much better than him. But you do got to take in effect that we had the number 1 offensive line, whereas a lot of these other teams did not have like a great offensive line. So I guess you could put it like that. I'm not sure, but as far as this team goes, we have a great trio of running backs: Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell has been our best running back in the playoffs, and we have Dallas Goedert, like I said. We got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. We have Zach Pascal, who's a great blocking wide receiver. That's all he's been used for this year. As we ran our offense through our trio of Goddard, AJ, Smitty, and Jalen Hurts. So when it comes down to it, I think that my Eagles are going to win. I think that we put up quite a bit of points. I'm not going to sleep on the cornerbacks that the Chiefs have just because they're rookies. Like I said, I wanted Trent McDuffie. I don't know who the Williams dude is. What's his name? Josh Williams. And then they have Jalen Watson. They didn't play bad, but it's just the fact that we have so many weapons that I just don't see them beating us. Like, I do respect Spags, though, their defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. He's a great defensive coordinator, and it seems like in the postseason they play really well. Frank Clark, a dude who kind of was slept on in the regular season, he has turned up in this postseason. You have a dude, you got Chris Jones. Chris Jones was the highest rated defensive tackle this year. Hold on, I actually don't think I did say this. Give me my stats. When it comes to the 5 best pass rushers in the Super Bowl, Chris Jones is the highest rated pass rusher in the Super Bowl with a 92.4 grade. But then after that, it goes all 4 Eagles. Javon Hargrave with a 91.2 grade, Hassan Reddick with a 90.8 grade, Brandon Graham with a 90.1 grade, and Josh Sweat with an 81.3 grade. Does that mean I will sleep on this defense? No, I will not. Another dude who I wanted on the Eagles before we made some moves that we made was Carl Loftus. I like Carl Loftus coming out of where did he come out of? Whatever. I liked him when he came out of college. I thought he was a dog. And then, if I'm correct, he's a dude who was outside with no shirt on, and it was like 20 degrees or something, and he's doing all his workouts at his pro day. I was like, he's a dog. So this defense is not anything to sleep on. You do have, I think, Dana. I don't want to say Dana or Dana, but Dana or Dana, whatever one. He's a defensive end. You got a good rotation. You got Frank Clark, him, and then you have Carl Loftus. You got Chris Jones coming up. So I think it's a tough matchup, but at the same time, we have Jason Kelce, the guy who was the number one rated. No, I'm sorry, not number one rated. The first team All-Pro at center, although Creed Humphrey was the number one rated PFF center. Jason Kelce was number 2 by only 1 point. 1 point, may I add. Those are the top 2 centers in the league. So I expect to see the same things between them, actually. I expect them to, if there's only 4 guys rushing, they're going to double team whoever's coming up. So Hargrave, double team. You got Chris Jones, double team. I think Chris Jones is going to get double teamed the whole game because I don't think, it's not like a lack of respect for Frank Clark and Carl Loftus, but we have Lane Johnson and we have Jordan Mailata. We have Landon Dickerson, who's hurt. That's why it's going to be a lot of double teams, but I feel like Chris Jones is going to attack the Isaac Samalu side more. We'll see. I mean, Chris Jones is probably going to attack that side more, but they're going to try to bring some pressure up because Landon Dickerson has that arm injury. But Jason Kelce is going to get there. Then that means Nick Bolton could either rush us or somebody can rush us. I don't know if it's Justin Reed or if it can be Nick Bolton or maybe even Jalen Watson, but I don't know how many times I've seen Jalen Watson rush the passer. So there's a lot of things that can go in this game. But one thing I know is that their defense can't afford to not double team anybody. So regardless of how it works, you double team AJ Brown, Devontae Smith may get the ball, Dallas Goedert may get the ball, Kenneth Gainwell, if he's in, may get the ball. We may do a run pass option where Jalen Hurts beats it or he pulls it back, throws it. It doesn't matter what happens. I feel like the Eagles will be unstoppable. There may be times where we get stopped like multiple times in a row, but I feel like this game could be like a 37-27 type of game. I feel like we have this game in the bag. I think we win at almost every matchup, but Patrick Mahomes himself with Andy Reid and one of the best offensive coordinators in Eric Bieniemy will make this a tough game. So I hope I hit on all bases. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of papers in front of me and I didn't organize them too well. Not going to lie. But the main point was just to get out why I think that my Eagles are going to win. But it's not to not show respect to Kansas City because I see a lot of Kansas City fans talking about we going to beat the shit out the Eagles. They ain't played nobody this year. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, who did y'all play? Like everybody wants to talk about we ain't played nobody. Y'all played a weak division realistically. Yeah, the Chargers may have gotten into the playoffs, but they're chokers. We all knew that was going to happen. And then if I'm correct, the Chargers, no, that was that. You know what? Let me correct myself. That was the Raiders. I was going to say they tried to go for a 2-point conversion, ended up losing by 1 point. But no, that was the Raiders. But regardless, we know who the Chargers are. They're chokers. Their coach choked. They did the biggest choke job in postseason history to the Jaguars, who y'all ended up beating. Y'all was going to beat whoever won that game, regardless. And I'm not sitting here saying that the Eagles have played some tough teams, because in all reality, I don't think we played anybody. To this day, I don't feel like we played anybody. San Francisco was the team I wanted to beat, and then we knocked their quarterback out, and now all their players won't stop talking shit. But regardless, I feel like this is the best test for either of these teams. And the reason why people are saying that we haven't beat anybody, or the reason why I would say that they haven't beaten anybody, is because in all reality, they were the top 2 teams in the league. It's plain to see. It's the number 1 versus the number 1. 14 wins, 14 wins. Best center, best center. Kelsey brother, Kelsey brother. Like, that's just how it goes. MVP winner, MVP runner-up. The teams are even. But on Sunday, I feel like the better team will win. And I think it would be my Eagles. If we don't win, shit, we weren't the better team then. But I think another Lombardi trophy is coming to Philadelphia. So, with that being said, I think that my Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. And I hope that y'all can respect my opinions. Because I respect Kansas City, man. They're too good of a team. They have great coaches. And where it comes to the lack of talent that compared to the Eagles, I feel like they have the good coaches. They have experienced coaches who have been there, done that. They have lost at the top. They have won at the top. Whereas we are coming in with 3 coaches who have never been to the Super Bowl. Our offensive coordinator, second-year offensive coordinator. Our defensive coordinator, second-year defensive coordinator. Our head coach, second-year head coach. Our quarterback, second year as a starter. We have a lack of experience, but I don't believe that will be anything, because I think that our coach has coached us well. I think our coach has done like so great in making them live in the moment, making them be competitive at any given moment, but still having a brotherhood. I feel like that's going to show on the field on Sunday. And like I said, I think my Eagles will win. I've already said that like 3 times already, so I'm going to stop rambling. But if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching my video. It really does mean a lot. This is going to be my 4th video. And for what's to come, just to give you guys some hints, I'm going to be talking about free agency when free agency starts. I'm going to do my best to not do it too much, but we'll see. Because I like talking about sports, and I like having this outlet to talk about sports. And I've been watching the trade deadline for the NBA. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The West, man. Everybody making jokes saying that Ja Morant caused the West to re-up on all these players. But oh my goodness, you got Kyrie at Dallas. You got KD in Phoenix. You got the Lakers trying to re-up. You got Thomas Bryant got sent to the Nuggets, who everybody keeps saying isn't a good pickup. And I'm like, I don't know why you think that. Thomas Bryant was balling when AD was hurt, and even was still balling afterwards. Every time Thomas Bryant is balling for the Lakers, he gets traded. I noticed that. But we're not here to talk about that. When it comes to the NFL, I have some ideas that I want to do. I want to do a worst the first video. I want to talk about the divisional round losers, the wild card losers, the conference championship losers, and I want to talk about the Super Bowl losers. That's just 5 videos that I want to talk about. I still have like basically a series going on that in my head about interesting teams. My first video was 3 interesting teams, and then I have another video that I want to do about 3 more interesting teams, or I could just do 1 interesting team. There's a lot of content that should be coming your way. I'm gonna try to take better notes. I'm gonna try to speak better. I'm gonna try to be more prepared, and I hope that you guys stick around and watch those next videos coming up too. So like I said, I'm Justo T, and I hope you like, subscribe, and share. And I hope you return for the next video. Take care.